60% of AI pilot projects are actually being scrapped because they're not being implemented well enough.
We're not getting rid of that individual. That individual is going to get to do 10 times more and love their job even more and feel even more productive.
If you think being small is an excuse to not use AI, you'll always be that small. Oh, what are we talking about today, Mark?
All right. So today we're going to be talking about, I don't even know that you know this yet, but today we're going to be talking about how small businesses can finally compete like big companies because of the new AI age. And small businesses are using AI to do things that they previously needed whole departments for. SBE Council reported that 82% of small business employers have invested in AI tools. So this is not a fringe anymore. So that's what we're talking about
That
today.
resonates, man. I was in the world of cold calling for a couple of years. It wasn't the most enjoyable thing in the world, but dang, did I learn a lot. One of the things, and this happened in a matter of 12 months, the beginning. So I started cold calling in like November of 2024. And we were talking a lot about AI, and there was a lot of interest being generated, just starting conversations saying, have you explored AI yet and how it might be able to help your business? And a lot of light bulbs were going off and everyone was interested. And even if someone didn't book an appointment, I was at least having a pretty lengthy conversation with them about what AI entails and how you integrate it and what are some small wins that you can implement today and things like that. And there was a lot of interest. 12 months down the road, and the interest level did not drop, but the conversations that I was having did, because the majority of people now were already integrating AI in some way. And a lot of times there was a bad taste.
Or they think.
Yes.
are.
Yeah. And there's a lot of bad taste left in mouths because of it. And there was another report, and I don't want to say this, but there was another report that came out that we reported on probably 6 months ago or so that said 60% of AI pilot projects are actually being scrapped because they're not being implemented well enough. You don't have someone that's sitting at the helm controlling that and actually integrating it into the company and holding people accountable to using it is one of the issues. The other issue was there just wasn't enough front end education for them to know how to implement it or how to use these tools. So a lot of them are getting scrapped, which is cool. We're going to have a webinar next week that talks a lot about that. But it's just so funny when you see 82% of small business employers have invested in AI tools. I fully believe that, because just seeing that 12-month shift in, hey, there's so much interest, people don't know a whole lot about it. And then all of a sudden, cold calling it depleted like crazy. We stopped getting appointments for AI generated stuff because either there was a bad taste in their mouth or they're already exploring it with another company or they're already partnered up. So like, this resonates, and it's cool because now.
So you missed the bus, is what you're talking about. Is what you're saying.
I think
we
were riding on the bus
because any CEO hearing you tell that story is going to think, okay, so what happened during that 12-month period?
The market was so saturated. You think about it; they weren't getting calls about AI before,
right?
And then all of a sudden, I don't think we missed the bus. I think the bus stopped a couple stops early. And we kind of had to jump off and shift because the interest level there in having conversations about AI dropped, not because people were less interested in AI, but because they were already involved. And I think the last people to gravitate towards that are the small businesses, which I think is why
that's how it always works.
And this is a great topic because previously the big companies always won because they had more manpower. They had the people to be able to do it. Now small companies almost have the advantage. They're more nimble and they can move more aggressively. They don't have to wait for all of the red tape, but they have all the same tools at hand for a lot cheaper than what we would have been able to get it for before.
And a great example of that is, we now, thanks to being able to code with AI, there's not a person in this building that has a software development degree. And yet we're building world-class applications, in some cases for publicly traded companies, because we can code in any language now.
Right? Yeah.
So, right now there's an entity that we have that we've had it for a couple of years, but we have our first official employee under this entity. And when you do that, it means you have to file for all this extra stuff with the state. And there's a service they wanted to charge me $800 to do all these filings with the state. And I'm like, I think it's free. So what did I do?
Oh, it's just
and
a time investment on their end, or are you doing all the
well,
submissions
it's like
for
a
it?
legal Zoom or something like that
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
they'll just charge you because they know which buttons to click.
Yeah. Like if like especially for like EIN and stuff,
Yeah,
dude, they'll charge you like $80 for an EIN that you can get in 30 minutes by
less than 30
yeah,
minutes. Yeah.
by typing it into a
Yeah.
irs.gov site.
Yeah, and all this is it's setting up these account numbers with the state, so that we can pay into like do federal or PA state withholding taxes and all that. So my whole point with that is, I don't have Jody does our HR stuff. My wife, she's not like an official like HR person. She's gone to a lot of seminars and stuff, but she's not like again, no degree or anything. But I now can sit there and I took a screenshot of what I'm trying to do, threw it into Claude, and it's been walking me through what links to go to and where to click. And I have that guide right next to me. Now, that's the most basic form of AI integration. And that's not integration the way that we're talking about it. But my point is, I have the ability to do that in 10 minutes the right way. Whereas I wouldn't have had that opportunity before because I wouldn't have known where to go, what to click. I would have paid the $800 gladly just to, but now I have a guide next to me that can figure it out.
I think that's a great point, and
You
I think
know?
a good exercise here would maybe be to go through each one of those that Mark rattled off, and that we can start with that one, and that's the research part of it. And Dave, if you don't mind just going into like the accessibility into research and how quickly we can get information versus how we did it before. And we've had Google for a long time, right? When I first started here almost 5 years ago now, if I asked Dave a question, he'd ask me a question back, and the question was, "Did you ask Google?"
Mhm.
Like, because the world's information is there. Well, now we have that same information, if not more, even more easily accessible.
Now you
to
have an
us.
assistant to Google it for you, basically,
Yeah.
which is what the AI is enabling you to do. The other, it's not just stuff like that. Like another example, we have a trademark that we're trying to get, and when you trademark attorneys are really expensive. There's some of the most expensive out there, and the legalese that they use when communicating, because when you file a trademark, an actual attorney is reviewing your trademark submission, and then if they deny it, which ours was denied, if they deny it, it's a legal write-up written in legalese referencing case law, like what an attorney would write up and file with the court. Well, I was able to take this information, and it's like a 30-page response from this attorney. And I was able to, using an IDE. Now, this would not work for, you couldn't go directly to Chat GPT and do what I'm about to describe.
Can you what does that acronym stand for? IDE.
Developer environment.
Okay. Okay.
Something developer environment. Like, look that up, Mark, please. IDE, but it's like Cursor, VS Code,
Gotcha,
Zed is a new
gotcha.
one that we're using now. So they're programs that allow you to communicate with an AI, but what it also does is when you ask it to do something, it can actually modify files on your computer.
Agentically.
Yes. So it can go and create documents. You can literally open up an IDE. VS Code is free. Download VS Code, open it up, and go into the search box and say, build me a web page, and hit the button, and it will actually build you a web page on your computer that you can see. And then if you don't know how to get that online, you can be like, I don't know how to get this online.
Yeah.
And just keep asking it questions. What is it?
So it stands for Integrated Development Environment.
Yeah, integrate. There we
That
go.
makes sense.
So everyone in the world should have an IDE now. I just the other day, like I gave a reference to the team. I went into Zed. I used Zed to connect to Grok Build. So Grok Build is Grok's new codex, Claude Code. It's XAI's tool. And I literally was like, hey, on one of my computers at home, it only has 8 gig of RAM, and you trying to use VS Code on a computer with 8 gig of RAM is next to impossible. But I was like, hey, like, can you make my computer faster? And like it started going into files and stuff that I don't know how to manipulate.
Hold on. So let's backtrack this a little bit, because I think we might lose people on what it actually means, like the agentic stuff. And because I think it's
Yeah.
important to note, like, what that local host environment
Yeah.
that we consider, that we refer to it as, what is that? Like, because I think
Well,
people need to understand
an
how it actually goes into the
IDE,
files.
so an IDE is like if you took ChatGPT and you gave it access to every single file on your computer. Now, doing that exact thing is very unsafe, so, but that's basically what you can do. By default, it does not have access to all those files. You're giving it access. But literally, if you say the IDE has access to all of your files, the files that you would build inside of a website might be located within a directory on your computer somewhere. Like I'm assuming that people understand how like the documents directory works, the downloads, all that stuff.
Sure.
But like inside of your documents directory, like I have a folder called Git. That's where I put all my GitHub stuff. GitHub is it's like a Google Cloud, but for specifically for like website projects, apps, stuff like that. It's where you can store everything so that other developers can share information. It's free. All this stuff is free. None of this, that's the other thing that I think people get confused about. They think AI is expensive. AI is expensive because you get people like us involved in it.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that, but the return that you get, even when you get someone like us involved, if they're focused on the proper things, the money that you end up putting back in your pocket is drastically higher, obviously, than, or people wouldn't hire us to do this stuff.
Yeah.
But so the IDE is basically if you could go to ChatGPT on your phone, but like you could tell it to manipulate your phone. Like if you
Yeah.
could say, "Hey, ChatGPT, make my desktop image rotate around to different pictures of my family every 25 minutes." On it, you talking to ChatGPT through an IDE on your laptop, you can actually it'll
Or
be like, "Oh, okay.
yeah, or like,
Where are
go,
these images?"
this picture that I just took, go post it to Facebook for me with,
Yeah.
and create me a cool tagline to go with it.
Yes.
Done.
So if you're connected, if you're connected to your Facebook account and all that. Now, the other thing to understand about that is all of the basically any software application on the planet that your business uses right now likely has an API. An API is a way that these AIs can talk to the software. So when we talk about like I was in a meeting this morning at a business here in town. And one of the things I referenced was it's an e-commerce company. And I was like, hey, imagine if when someone put something in their cart and then they left and didn't make the purchase, if they immediately got a phone call from an AI voice and said, hey, it's AI Joe. I'm an AI customer service rep over at this company. I noticed you left this item in your cart and you didn't make the purchase, and we just like to find out why people didn't make the purchase. And then they answer the question, and then that AI can be coded to communicate. Now, a lot of people go, oh, you're going to put an AI cold caller in, that means it's going to disrupt my current customer service team, or it's going to change the systems. No, what you're doing is you're taking the existing systems that your business has, and you're basically we're literally building right now an AI version of our agency called 5KOS Cloud. And department by department, Matthew and I are going through and literally looking at, okay, here's what this team member does. Here's the frameworks that we've given them to use. We're teaching the AI the frameworks, our methodologies, everything's based on profit paths, for example. And then what we're doing is we're creating a tool for that individual. We're not getting rid of that individual. That individual is going to get to do 10 times more and love their job even more and feel even more productive and know that they're always quality wise in line with what we're doing because of the software that we're building that's doing it. We're able to do that through talking to a computer. And that is like so anyway, I'm
There's almost
going
no
off on
there's
a tangent, but
with lower level employees are, man, they're going extinct at
yeah.
this point with the system that we're building here.
Can I rephrase lower level?
Lower, yeah, please.
Employees that think lower is a better way to put that, I think.
We're building a team of directors that have what we would consider to be entry level employees. They're directing the everyday movement of what these agents are doing. So there's just director level. There's nothing underneath of that. That is the hierarchy.
Think of it like a sandwich. Yeah. Yes, to everything you just said. What's really cool is you're taking the frameworks and the methodologies and your secret sauce, your IP, your stuff from the top, building it into code that can think, because now AI is inside the code. So, and again, that's such a massive statement that so many people just kind of miss, because they still are thinking that AI means that okay, like if I say we're going to build a tool that automatically quotes things off of CAD drawings, most CEOs are thinking that means that I'm going to take a CAD drawing and I'm going to upload it into Claude, and then Claude's going to give me my quote back, and the person's going to manually put it in. And yes, you could do that, but that's not what this means. This is where we're creating something that doesn't exist yet, which is why CEOs have a hard time putting it, because what we're going to create does not exist. They don't understand why it needs to exist, because it doesn't exist now. They're not looking at it like that one little thing that employee is doing, or that 3,000 employees are doing every day 10 times. Like that's how we see it. Okay, so
I think there's an excellent distinction there. I'm sorry for interrupting you,
no,
Dave, but I
please.
think it's so important that, because you talk about these really big visions, and we're building an autonomous company or agency that these AI agents are going to be able to run themselves, and that's all great. But I think one of the lighter points that you make, or that you made, was that we are taking what workflows already exist. So there was a human element before AI ever came in. So in order to create the systems in the first place, are we saying that we need that human, we need the manual before we can automate? Because we have to
100%.
test the system first.
Yeah, your existing business is the manual,
Right.
but it's a matter, you're creating a carbon copy of to do this properly, you need to create a carbon copy of your existing business. But to communicate that to agents, like, the beautiful thing is the agents never get it wrong once they're told properly what to do, and they are given proper quality assurance checkpoints. So you'll hear CEOs say, well, yeah, but they kept messing up the quotes because of this, that, or the other thing. Let's use an example. Like, let's say we have, I don't know, there's a plumbing company, and that plumbing company does big corporate buildings, and they start at the design build phase. So a GC or an architect or somebody has created a diagram. It's a 5-level building, and on each level, 2 of the stalls have handicap stalls, right? And the toilets that are in those are $300 more than the regular toilets. But in the diagram, they don't look any different. They just have a different code number, right? Let's say that that's how that happens. So now CEO will say, oh, AI doesn't work because it didn't catch well, that's because it needs trained on that.
Yeah.
Takes a long time to do the training. It's really hard to do the training, but once you do the training, it's not going to mess it up. And then secondarily, after, and we talked about this on a previous podcast or somewhere, when I was talking about the Jesus Chat project having an issue where we want to create these really unique names and titles that'll encourage people to want to read the devotionals that it sends. But it made a crass joke, not a joke, but it said, like, why God hates
fiery balls or something.
No, crushed testicles.
Yeah,
why God hates crushed testicles. And granted, it was one of our highest open rate devotional emails that we ever had go out. But I'm okay with that topic because it was actually relevant. And when you read the actual study, it made sense. Yeah. It completely made logical sense. But we don't want the word testicles to appear in our our devotional emails. So now what happens is one AI goes and it creates it. Then another AI looks at it and says, for the people that want in-depth devotionals, were these actually more than 1,000 words? Because that's a minimum. And what'll happen is sometimes I'll see emails where the AI saw, nope, the other AI created one that was only 800 words. You need, and that AI tells it to go redo it. and it goes and redoes it. And then it goes through that quality check. Then it checks the subject line.
I imagine like the innards of an anthill,
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
all the tunnels, and they're all
Yeah.
just kind of crossing and overlapping, and like all like just
Yeah.
insane to think about.
But the beauty of it is the reliability once you have it set up is amazing.
Yeah.
It's just, and that's the other thing is you can rechange it. Like
I got really scared the other day.
yeah.
Yeah, let me tell you this story. So I'm doing this project. It's for a webinar. I think it's for the webinar landing page for next week. And I'm like, man, I got to get this done. Like I have to get this done before I go in at 8 a.m. tomorrow. And what I did was I told Visual Studio, I said, don't ask me for any permissions unless you're going to completely demolish the website and ruin everything on my computer. If it's just on this landing page and you think it needs edits, go make the edits. Here's all the information you need. Run as long as you need to. I said that at 10 p.m. It was 10:45 and I'm seeing it still running. I'm like, okay, all right. It's 11:30. I'm about to lay down and go to bed. I'm like, all right, it's still running. I wake up at 12:30 and I'm like, I gotta turn this. I didn't feel safe. I had to turn it off because I'm like,
It was still
what's
going?
gonna happen? Yeah, I'm like, what's gonna happen in the morning when I go into work and Jonathan and Dave look at me and they're like, why the hell did we just spend $500 in Claude
Yeah.
code tokens? And I'm like, let me just stop. So I got scared, but I tried. There was like a small moment. Now, what you're saying is something completely different. What you're saying is there's checkpoints along the way. You had that main AI agentic agent, whatever you want to call it, doing the work, but coming behind them was kind of like fact checking and the accountability layer that AI needs, the parameters and bumpers for it to work within.
Right. And that's built into the software that you build.
Yeah.
So but it's just everything is changing. Like Jensen from NVIDIA, the CEO of NVIDIA, just announced the other week, every single major PC manufacturer in the world has partnered with NVIDIA, and they're currently manufacturing a new type of computer that you literally just talk to it.
There's no keyboard?
Well, there is, but you're not going to use it.
Yeah.
But it's not going to even operate in the same way. You're going to say like what you want, and it's just going to like create it. So, and that's, I mean, we don't know where our industry, is going to go. We have no clue. We're
It's
just
shifted dramatically.
Oh my gosh,
the past
yeah.
6 months.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, even like we just redid our website. So no one would know it because it looks exactly the same. But why did we do it that way? Well, we now don't have a back end of our website. You don't need them anymore. As weird as that.
They're just going to pigeonhole you at this point, right?
Yes.
They
because
decrease the accessibility and
Yes.
ability to build on.
Because now think about this. Everyone in our building has been required to learn how to use an IDE. VS Code, Cursor, Zed, whatever. There's many of them. Codex, Claude Code, etc. Anti-gravity. So now if Pam, who would probably claim herself that she's the least technical currently here, if I said to her, Pam, I need you to go like put together a referral plan and put a web page together about it. She can open up her Cursor or VS Code or whatever, pull that Git repo down, which she knows how to do now, which takes a little bit. It's a little scary at first, but once you do it a few times, if you know how to use Facebook, you can do this. And she can literally talk to it audibly because we have our 5K dictate thing. Yeah. But she can literally say, hey, I need to put a web page on our website about blah, blah, blah. Now, inside of that Git
what's even crazier?
repo.
Let me hold on. Let me pull that back a little bit because I don't think Pam's taking notes. I don't think Pam's writing anything down. What Pam had already done is when she sat in the meeting with Dave, she had an AI note taker taking all of the notes, which then she took the transcripts from and plugged that into AI to build whatever the hell it is that Dave wants to see.
Yeah.
Like it's just insane when I try to talk to people on calls about how impactful AI is just from a bandwidth standpoint. Like I just can't get over it. I can't get excited enough, which is crazy to say about myself, but it's like people just don't understand yet. And
they don't
until they see it.
When they see it,
it's mind blowing.
Yeah.
And they're like, like, what's that? You would know this. What's that reel where like the kid takes his card out of his wallet, he slams it on the table, and he's like, "Give me it." Like that's the reaction that I get to when I show people my workflows. I'm doing not alone. I have an incredible team who I get to tap on shoulders all day to help me out with stuff and offload some things. But I take care of the prospecting, marketing, sales, webinars, BGSP podcast, like what we're doing right now. Like, there's no way in heck I would be able to do even a fraction of those
No.
things without the automation and the AI integration that I'm using right now. There's just no way.
Well, the way, if you're watching this right now, the way this was edited was with AI,
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
software tool that we use.
Yeah.
I want to bring that point back really quick before you
Mhm.
go on there, Dave.
I
Sorry.
want to finish the Pam thing too.
I want you to. So to bring it back to that main point on like the purpose of this podcast right here and saying like how are small businesses now at a higher advantage than the large organizations. You can do this with a slim down team. If I'm doing 5 different departments in this company, right? And I'm at the helm, kind of the helm of those essentially, and I'm orchestrating what's happening underneath those worlds, I would say a team of what, Dave? 8 people probably.
There are a lot of approaching billion-dollar companies now that have less than 20 people. That's the new thing. So and what especially any white collar businesses, attorneys, accountants, bookkeepers, us, marketing agencies, people within our industry, and a little more scary, people outside of our industry are going to create business models that do not have human capital being paid. And they're going to build business models that can do what you can do for a tenth of the price. And so that's going to create deflation, I believe, in many industries. Think about what it means when you take the largest workforce in the United States, which is the trucking industry, and over the next 10 years,
It's gonna be wild.
it's going to be moronic for a company to choose to have their goods shipped with a human driver because it's going to be so much more expensive. Because when you don't have to worry about a human life dying in a car accident,
Insurance goes down.
when you all of the sudden can run a tractor trailer for
24 hours a day, 7 days.
because you can't tell me that those solar panels aren't going on that roof of that
Absolutely.
18-wheeler,
Yeah.
like the trailer part.
Yeah.
So that's when you do the physics and the math, you can get to a point very soon where all of those people are out of work, and that's a problem. But what happens when the oil prices now aren't directly in proportion to like transportation costs? Because now we can choose where our energy is going to come from, because that's what it does. Like my Tesla is charged at my house. So I believe that it's 10%. If you look at your home energy costs compared to, I pay about 10% of what another driver of a truck, of a big truck would drive. That's my cost. Now, if my energy, like I can choose with Pennsylvania Power and Light, I can choose where or how my energy is created.
Yeah, right.
So, which I think you can in most states.
Get door knockers all the time.
Yeah.
Let me
So
see your statement, bro.
yeah.
Like-
So now you've got a whole industry that is going to be cheaper from the transportation level, which then goes over to all of the goods that we get shipped, food
sure, 'cause-
production.
yeah,
It keeps. So what's going to happen is there's going to be this major deflation. And then, I mean, we're talking 10, 20 years probably before like this craziness happens. But like it is going to be a wild world. But to survive over the next 10 years, which is the only thing we can't even understand. I don't think any of us have any idea what the world's going to look like in 10 years. I think it's going to be the fastest. So it was crazy. Neither one of you, I don't think, remember in depth the internet happening. Like one day you have no websites. The next day there's email.
I was 6.
People laughed at email all the time. Like, how stupid is that? Why would you not send a physical letter? Like that's ridiculous.
All right.
And then text messaging. Like, what? Is that like a beeper? Like, and then social media.
Yeah.
Why does everybody want to, put pictures of their, Like everything gets poo-pooed.
You're right.
This, and that's what's happening with AI in many cases now. Yeah. The people that are really in the AI game are excited and get it. The people that aren't, like, they don't eat it, and sleep it and breathe it. They're like, it's
Do
a
you think that
toy.
resistance comes from fear, or do you think it's just I don't want
No,
to? Do you think people just don't want to put forth the effort to learn it, or do you think it's just ignorance? Like not ignorance in like I'm not trying to like talk down or bad to anyone, but ignorance from a standpoint is they just don't know what they don't know.
Yeah. So I'm always surprised, me personally. I'm always surprised when I like drive and I see people, and a massive majority of human beings are just waking up and letting the day happen to them. They're not trying to shape tomorrow at all. And it's like they don't actually believe they can turn their life into something different.
Yeah.
I think that the majority of the world is like that with AI.
Elephant on the chain.
I don't understand what that means.
Elephant on the chain. If you're in a circus, the elephant sits
Oh,
on that chain for so long it doesn't know that it can go beyond that. So when you take the chain off,
they
it
stay
still
there.
stays.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you get flamingos to not leave. I learned that at a resort in Dominican.
We should have flamingos at our house.
I don't know that they would do well in the winter.
Goats. I heard goats is a good possibility at your house.
Don't even talk about goats, bro.
It's okay.
It's been a conversation.
It sounded like an exciting conversation until this just came up. We can move past it. I'm fine with that.
Someone in my household has decided that they're having someone come to the house to talk about having goats at our house to eat.
This makes a lot more sense now. It sounded like a collective decision of the house, but this is making a lot more sense. Yeah. Hearing who it came from, this makes a lot more sense. Yeah.
Yes.
Still a decision that's going to be gone with, though. I'm
sure. There are certain.
I don't know if there's anything we can really do about it at this point.
My point. Exactly.
Yeah. There's certain veto. We give each other a couple of vetoes a year.
Yeah,
like that. If we're that hell bent,
and this is not a battle you're trying.
I'm not gonna fight the goats.
I mean, it's gonna be entertaining.
Cute.
I don't. There's so many questions about the goats. What do my dogs do with the goats? How do we handle, like, what kind of predatory animals go after goats? Because we live in the woods. Like, there's a lot of stuff on that river that would probably love to have a goat for.
I'm sure.
For breakfast.
I mean, I'm sure that's what the company pays. Like, they probably pay the insurance for it in case something would happen.
Idea.
I don't know. We should automate it.
Yeah. Yes.
Let's get robot goats.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. Well, would you do me a favor, Dave? Pull around to that Pam story again.
Yeah.
Because I think that was a great point to hit on.
Well, so now going back to what this is about, with small businesses being able to compete on that big business level, every single person that's here now is a web developer. So Pam can add a page to the website because all she has to do is talk to her computer. And then inside of that repo, we can have roles and skill files that the AI looks to. So when Pam goes, I want to add this website or this web page, it automatically goes through our brand guide, our styling, or all that, and make sure it's there. And then if the rule is set up that Manny at 5k.co gets an approval email and has to approve it first before a new page goes up, that just gets built into the system.
That's good.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And so you, like, all of these problems that people bring up, or these challenges of HIPAA or FERPA or what, like all this stuff that people bring up as objections, there's not one of them that's not handleable. But when your team, all of a sudden, who has loyalty to you and loves your brand and your company, when you now all of a sudden can take every single person on your team that has their expertise in their area, but now they're also developers and they can build tools to make themselves more efficient and stuff.
Can I add on to that?
Please do.
We have experts in every vertical of our company. We do everything underneath that digital marketing umbrella, right? Paid ads, SEO, website design, development, link building, AI integration, you name it, we do it, which makes us unique. A lot of people enjoy that. But what's cool there is that no one expert is at the helm of a different expertise that they haven't already studied for at least 10 years, right? So now as we create these systems and they're knowledge, their IP goes into our 5K OS cloud system. Now everyone in our organization has access to that.
Yeah.
I don't need to wait on my SEO team, my paid ads team, or my design development team to now create a hyper personalized quote or proposal for a prospect that I'm meeting with. I don't have to take 10 hours to create this proposal anymore. I can create it with 3 because now I have the brain power and knowledge of everyone else on my team. And we
Yeah.
have some incredible high level people here. So to have access to all of that makes me feel like a millionaire. It
Yeah.
makes my job, it gives me the ability to do 5 different positions in the one that I hold now.
Yeah. And I mean, and we had a record breaking month in May
Because of that.
largely because of the fact that all of these people on our team now have these abilities to do these things. I mean,
And it's
we
not
have
just that. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, Dave. I'm
no,
sorry. I was getting
please
so
go to
excited. Because
town.
it's not just that. It's being able to tell the prospect that we can do this, but better and faster than
Mhm.
we were able to do it before.
Yeah.
So even if they didn't like our personalities, they can't deny that they just got this quote for cheaper and faster than what the other 3 companies just told them they could get it
Yeah.
for.
And I think the speed is the key because people they can go online, search up different companies, submit forms for a bunch of companies, but the person who does it the quickest is the one that typically gets the bite.
A lot of times.
Yeah, and so with quotes and things like that, like I guarantee you're not the first company that they're asking for a quote for. You know what I mean? Like if I buy something, it requires a quote. I go to many different people to get different quotes from different people so that I can know, hey, this is what I'm getting from them. This is how much it costs, blah, blah, blah. But generally, the people who get it to me first, I'm like, it's like no one else is getting it to me yet. So it's like,
And on that point, every single sales rep that you have that's producing quotes for prospects now has, if you use AI properly, now has all of the information that they would ever need about that business,
That's it.
even if they know nothing about it. Like it makes you an expert at everything because you're an expert at your IP, your systems, your procedures, the specific way that you manufacture things or the specific we have our profit paths methodology that is different than what anybody else does in the world with marketing, and it works for us. Well, the AI understands that. The AI understands whatever these companies are doing that put out these quotes for bathroom remodeling or, bookkeeping services or whatever. But now the AI can also very quickly, like we've built these 100 times, where the AI will go out and harvest information about in 60 seconds, an AI in the background can pull all of the publicly available information about any individual or company, pull all that data in, and then it can look at your frameworks and your methodologies for creating code and go, okay, this type of business in this situation probably needs these services that we offer, and here's exactly how they can help. And you've just created a proposal tool in 30 minutes.
We would not have gotten that out of 3-hour-long discovery call.
Yes, exactly. So everyone that if you truly honestly use it properly. Another thing, like we are recording almost every single thing that we do now.
It's going to bring
and because if you didn't record it, the AI doesn't know that it happened.
Yeah.
So even if you don't have your AIs ready right now, start recording everything. And if you don't like that idea, okay, but you're probably not going to be in business in 10 years.
You're going to miss stuff.
Yeah, because the AIs are going to increasingly be doing more and more stuff. All the programs and software that we use today, every one of them, Photoshop, Adobe is crushing it because they have to. AI would have replaced Photoshop.
Yeah.
So what Adobe's doing is they're building AI into Photoshop and making it the best possible experience.
Same with Canva.
Yeah, they're all doing that right now, trying to come out and be the one. But here's what's nuts. Manny, you could go out and create a new version of Photoshop. Yeah. You could literally sit at your computer tonight and say, I want to create a competitor to Photoshop, but I want mine to be better at this, that, the other thing. Or what are the most common 50 complaints that people have about Photoshop? I want to build a light version of Photoshop and fix all of those issues and have mine be the best at that.
Yeah.
And guess what it'll freaking do? It'll start building. And if it's like, oh, we need this type of thing to build this, you're like, I don't know what that means. It'll explain it and then it'll install it. Like it just,
It's good. I think one of the things that plays heavily into the jump in retention and review rate that we've seen recently is the fact that we do all of the recording. Because one of the biggest friction points that I saw when I first came here is that we would miss stuff. We do 3 weekly meeting cadences. If we're doing a website or a development project, it's every single week so that we can hold ourselves accountable and we can show you the production live as we're going through it rather than waiting 6 weeks and having to redo everything, right? So previously, we weren't recording all of our calls.
Right.
We were trying to manually write down notes, as most people were, right? It was a bit cumbersome. I mean,
As
once
most people
COVID
still do.
once COVID came
Mhm.
around, I think a lot of people got more comfortable with doing the online, video calls and actually recording those things. But we weren't doing it much when I was first here. It was all taking notes, and we would miss things. Human error comes into play all the time, so we would miss things, and then we would get to the point where we're designing stuff and we're showing it to the client, and the client's looking at us and like, no, I said I wanted this. Like, where did we miss that? And then we're like, well, we don't have it in any of our notes. We didn't see it in an email. Well, no, it's because it was a 5-second clip of something they said during the duration of our hour-long meeting. AI's not going to miss that. We
Mhm.
are. AI's not. So now, like, we've seen a bump in our retention, we've seen a bump in our reviews and the customer satisfaction and everything like that. I think a big contributor to that is because we're recording everything and we don't miss anything because of that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge deal. Not only that, think about like you send the sales, let's say it's a landscaper
Mm-hmm.
and somebody's wants to redo their landscaping at their house, right? So imagine that guy or gal that you send out to do that goes out and actually records on video. Maybe they have a GoPro, I don't know,
Yeah.
but they record on video the whole conversation. They're taking video of the actual landscape and all
Mhm.
that kind of stuff. Everything's going to be like that in the
Well,
future.
sure, because if you send that same person out to go do that quote or that estimate or whatever it is, and they're writing this down on a piece of paper or trying to, one thing is they're not engaged with the prospect
Oh,
or the
100%.
person,
Yeah.
the client that they're coming out
Yeah,
to do the
yeah.
job for, right? They're not engaged with them. They're trying to take notes. They're doing these other things. And when it gets back, if your team can even read your chicken scratch, you probably missed a few things that that client wanted.
Yeah. And so by having AI go through that video moment by moment, software could be created that there would be an app that they would record that video on, and then it would automatically go and do estimates on, how much time it's going to take, what the quote's going to be. How does it know how to do that? Because you've taught it how to calculate.
Yeah.
If you can
And then give
sit
them the
down,
visual of the finished product.
yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
and that can happen instantly. Like as soon as that meeting is over, hit a button and it generates it instantly right on the spot.
And there's that person who always does their quotes and they're always within 10%. And then there's the other people that do quotes and they're off by, 80% and you're losing your rear end. Well, again, if we train the AI from the perspective of that person that's always getting the quotes, you literally get them in a video interview to explain how they go through and do quotes. Like literally, I'm not joking when I say this. This would be like an incredible way to get a system like this down. So you take your rock star project manager, whoever's going through and looking at projects and quoting them. You sit down. How did you quote this product?
Yeah, right.
This project. How did you quote this project?
Yeah.
Have them actually go out to the property and do a stream of consciousness.
Mhm.
Like, tell me what you're thinking. Like, what is going on in your brain right now as you look at this flower bed? What is going on in your brain now as you look at this thing? And what happens over time is the AI gets better and better and better. But here's the beautiful thing. Now, every single one of your people that you send out to do quotes is using the rock stars methodology for how to create the quote.
Yeah. Right. Right.
It's always done right every single time. If you have a rule that, you can't, if you have to have a client's birth date, you have to know what their birth date is. And that's a requirement because you send out birthday cards as part of your culture or something to your clients. It can be set up that you can't create an invoice until the birth date's there. Like stupid stuff that like humans just mess up.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed.
That sales rep could get hit by a bus.
Yeah.
Now, new sales rep goes out. Guess what? They have all of the data there already.
That takes us to our point earlier where we're like, hey, do the manual part of it first, create the system, then automate it, scale the crap.
Yeah.
Don't and this is a very popular new thing that's being talked about on Moonshots and other podcasts that you should listen to if you're into this stuff. Don't inject AI into your current processes, the way it needs to be built from the ground up.
Mhm.
So you literally want to you want to look at your entire business, look at specific silos of challenges or like processes that get done now that are irritating, that are gross and people just hate doing them, that are stressful, that are whatever. Those are the first things you want to do. And you want to document exactly how it's done. And then with that documentation, you can very easily create a new entity that you're kind of giving basically that team member a new tool over here. Like what we're doing with 5K OS Cloud, we have 5K OS, which everyone has been going in and creating skills documents for. So what that means is what is the method in which when Lainey goes through and does search term research, what is she doing? What is she deciding on? How is she, and
That's how I'm building my skill right now for the webinar stuff. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So once you have that skill built in there, now your team member has a tool that they can use to do their job quicker. And then you move on to the next thing. And before you know it, this new thing that you're creating will autonomously do many of those frustrating, things and stuff. And I think
agree.
that is going to be a huge part of what happens over the next 5 years in businesses is they're going to be recreating.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
And if you're cool with it, like I'm going to end this with a bit of a hot take here.
Yeah.
Because we talk about how our small business is now positioned to have the advantage utilizing AI. Well, here's the thing. You have access to all of the tools and the resources of a $4 billion company. If you're not using them, I don't know what you're waiting on.
Yeah.
I get into calls all the time where I'm talking with people, even not here at work, but they're like, we're like a couple man team. Like I'm not big enough. I'm not gonna integrate AI. It just doesn't feel like it's worth it. If you think being small is an excuse to not use AI, you'll always be that small.
Mm-hmm.
You can guarantee it.
Yeah.
That's a good.
That is good.
That's a
That
good
that's
one to
giving me
end on.
chills.
All right, we're done.
Oh yeah.
Thanks, guys. I gotta
Drop it.
I gotta go. I gotta get to ACT in 15 minutes. So
Cool.
Alrighty.
All right,
Cool.
brother.
All right.
Peace
Peace
out,
out, y'all.